What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to show you that it is possible to build a lineup for £20 and also win ETH and card prizes as well. We are going to be focusing on the Cap 240 limited competition, as I believe that is the best competition for this budget. And I have to say that I was personally shocked at the level of quality that you can still buy at this low budget level. So enough of me, and let's get into the video and see what we can do with a £20 budget. Okay, so with a small budget of £20, the first important position is obviously the goalkeeper, and the best person that I could find for this price range was David Marshall for Hibernian in the Scottish League. When I was making this video, the price was around about that £11.50 mark. There has been a recent sale of a lot higher, but that was for a new season card. You can probably get an older season card for around that sort of £10 to £11 mark. And he's someone that is obviously a little bit older at 38. And in the Scottish League, you do obviously have those fixtures against Celtic and Rangers, which aren't the best. But if you look at his scores overall, especially recently, they've been very, very good. He's nice and low on the cap at L15, as we'll be entering the Cap 240 limited competition. And yeah, he's just someone that is going to do a decent job for you. Obviously, he had the recent high score with that penalty save. In terms of his scores overall, he's averaging 42.3. He is going to give you those stinky games, but that's what you sort of get for this price range, really. The main thing with him is that when he scores well, he hits a nice dark green score. In terms of home and away split, he averages 6 more points when he plays at home. So that's obviously something to keep in mind. And away from home is only 36.2. So yeah, you're really going to be targeting those home fixtures with him. But for someone around that sort of £10 to £12 mark, I think he's the perfect option for this budget builder. And then to partner him in defense, we have gone for Rocky Bashiri to complete the Hibernian stack. And yeah, he's someone that once again is nice and cheap. If you look at his price, it's gone up a little bit over the last day just because of the midweek coming up, but you should be able to get him around about that £1 to £2 mark on a regular basis. He has a nice L15 of 42, and yeah, he's someone which doesn't get the best scores, but for this budget builder and in terms of stacking, I think he's one of the best options. You can also go for, I think his name is William Fish, who plays for Hibs as well. But he's a little bit more expensive, around that £7 to £8 mark. But yeah, in terms of scores in the last 6 games, some nice green scores there, some nice AA, a really good score at home here against Celtic. And yeah, he's someone that's quite consistent, is nice and low on the cap, and obviously partners David Marshall very well as well. And then moving into the midfield, we have gone for Jerome Gondorf, who plays for Karlsruhe in the Bundesliga 2. Going a little bit cheaper with the goalie and defender has meant that we could then get a few better quality players in the midfield and forward line. His recent sales, one higher here on an instant buy at £1.39, but before that, a purchase at 69p and 83p. So anywhere from probably 75p to like £1.50, £2 is his price range currently. He scores very, very well. He gets some nice peak scores, which we obviously want in this team. 2 scores between 80 and 90 and 90 and 100. He's someone that is very, very consistent, plays most games. And yeah, actually for his price, gets some quite nice scores. I was looking at picking up his rare as well, just because for someone of his price range, he scores very, very well and is obviously capable of getting those dark greens, which is perfect for a budget builder like this. And then continuing the second division theme, we have gone for Baptiste Guillaume, however you say it, I'm not sure. He plays for Ginkamp in French League 2. He's someone who, in terms of prices, goes round about that £2.50 to £3 mark in limited. Lots of recent sales around here. And is, yeah, what you would expect for a budget forward option. When he scores, gets a nice dark green score, mainly between 60 to 80. Obviously, the downside here is there's no real upside, but for a budget player, you aren't really expecting that. And then when he doesn't score, you're going to be getting in that sort of 30 to 40 range. To be fair, for a budget striker, having an AA of 6.6 is actually quite good. And just to check his home and away splits here, in the games that he started, he averages 50.7, which is really good. At home is 50.2, and away from home is 51.1. So basically the same whether he's playing at home or not at home. And yeah, just someone that scores very, very well in his last 35 games, 10 goals and 4 assists. He's sort of getting a goal or assist every 2.5 games, which is perfectly fine for a budget striker option. And then for our extra, we have gone for another midfielder in Tete Morente, who plays for Elche in the Spanish second div. Obviously, there's quite a common theme here of second div players, just as they're normally a little bit cheaper. In terms of his recent limited price, some recent sales here of £3, £2.49 and £1.77. So anywhere from £1.50 to £3 is probably the price range. And he's someone, once again, that for his price, really, really good. 2 goals in his last 2 games. And before that, a goal and assist against Zaragoza. Plays every game, plays on the left normally, but can play on the right. Elche, one of the better teams in the Spanish second div as well. And yeah, it's just someone that for his price range is really, really good. Once again, a player that when I found him, I instantly looked at his rare. In games that he's started, averaging 50.6, an AA of 9.6. When he's at home, he's scoring 54.7, and his AA moves up to 12.8, and away from home, 46.2, which is still sort of feasible. And yeah, just someone that on his day can score those nice dark greens and offers you a little bit of AA, 9.6 overall, which just means that he has quite a safe floor as well. And most importantly, the whole point of this video is to show you that you can win with £20. So I've put all of these players into the concept to see how they score in Cap 240 Limited. Let's check it out. Okay, so here is the lineup: Marshall, Bashiri, Gondorf, Guillaume, and Morente. You can see the floor price currently is £16.36. The recent price average is a little bit higher at £17.93, so we've come in under budget. We've also got 5 points spare on the cap as well. With the leftover £3-4, you can also pick up a couple of spare parts to actually put into this team here. And yeah, obviously when you have injuries, suspensions, you can then use them to fill some gaps. And then most importantly, in terms of the scores, this lineup actually scores very, very well. If we have a look at the last 3 scores, so in 4-2-3, it scored 3-4-9. 4-2-7, it scored 3-2-3. And in 4-2-9, it scored 3-14. So what's that? In the last 6 game weeks, it's hit the threshold 3 times, which is great. That basically covers the full team cost. This score back here, I can't quite see if that's 267 or 287. That may be another threshold hit back here. And yeah, obviously a very, very solid lineup. You could change the captaincy based on the best matchups. And I mean, if you look here, when all of those players play, they hit something 43% of the time. Obviously, that's hitting the threshold. But for instance, like here, that 3-4-9 is probably going to hit you, what, a tier 4, tier 5 limited in Cap 240. And you can then either use that player and sell it. So yeah, for this price and with a little bit left over, you can still build a really, really competitive Cap 240 team that can still hit very, very good scores. And this isn't a fluke either. If you look at the filters that I've put here, players that play in Europe and second div Europe that have played 3/4 of the last 15 games, under £10 for their floor. There's 195 players on here. So there are plenty of options, plenty of really good scorers for very, very cheap. I mean, just looking at, for instance, the L5s and L15s, there's players here that are averaging, 55, 60 that are £3 here, £4 here, another £3 here. So there's plenty of players which you can use. You don't have to pick the ones that I have. They were just the best budget options that I could find that fit into that cap. But yeah, there's nearly 200 options here for you to pick, and then obviously play in those cap 240 limited lineup. And in terms of moving forwards, once you've built a lineup like this, when you start hitting those $5 thresholds, you have a couple of options. You could either take that money out of the platform, and then you can basically just use these cards, and effectively you're playing free to play as you've already earned back what you spent. Or what you can do is then build up into the platform. You could, for instance, start buying some better limited cards, move up into cap 270 limited, all-star limited. You could even buy a second goalkeeper here and then start to play 2 lineups. But yeah, the good thing is that at such a low price, the risk is obviously very, very low. And you can still have plenty of fun using players like this. I personally think it's really important to highlight that you don't need to spend a fortune on Sorare to have fun and to also compete in really good competitions. Okay guys, that's going to be all for our £20 challenge. I hope you have learned something first of all and also enjoyed the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you've got any questions, please just pop them in the comments down below. I will be posting lots of videos like this on the channel, so make sure to stay tuned, and I'll see you on the next video.